Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to talk about SHOT Show 2022. A lot of people are probably surprised that it's actually happening, but it is happening. As of right now, it's scheduled to go. So a lot of people are like, wow, I'm surprised it's actually happening. But people that already knew it was happening have been panicking a little bit. People that have already got hotel rooms, airplane flights, etc., they've been thinking, oh my God, is it going to get canceled, or is the show going to be worth attending? Because there's been some bad news. And the bad news has been that some of the major manufacturers are pulling out. Today, Beretta pulled out. They won't be there. Benelli won't be there. Sig Sauer had already pulled out. They won't be there, and they're one of the bigger presences at SHOT Show. And there's rumor coming down the pike that they're only the beginning, that within the next week, there's going to be several more large cancellations. And that's leaving a lot of people who already bought tickets and already have hotel rooms, plane tickets. They're like, oh my God, did I just waste all this money? Is there not going to be a show we're seeing? Well, the show is going to be different this year, I think. Mainly because, like I said, some of the bigger manufacturers won't be there. And the reason they're not there, the real skinny on it, is they just crunched the numbers and they can afford to swallow the cost of the booth that they've already paid for, because the cost of manning that booth, worrying about potential infections in a really tight, crowded space like that, and all the negative press that would come from that, and all the insurance they have to pay, and all these other things, it's just not worth them to it. It's not worth it to them to risk it. So they're saying, we'll just swallow the fee of the booth, and we're staying home this year. I have a feeling we're going to see several more groups that are stationed overseas, especially in Europe, are also going to pull out in the next week, the ones that aren't quite as big. But here's the thing. The ones that are going to pull out, like I said, are pretty much the bigger companies that can afford to swallow the cost of the booth that they already prepaid for, and they aren't free. They're not cheap even. So SHOT Show is going to be different because of that. And also, I think there's going to be a lot less people there this year than there usually is, which I think would be a good thing. Less people to have to bump into in the aisles. So it's going to be different. Less people, probably not some of the bigger manufacturers, and it makes sense for them not to come. This isn't a world anymore where people actually have to come somewhere and see a product to know it exists. SHOT Show really was great when people really needed to get there and place their orders and see what was coming out. That's what SHOT Show was all about. And now that's kind of not necessary anymore, not as much. It's more of a social event now than anything else. And a lot of the manufacturers just don't want to risk it. They're not going to lose a lot of sales by not being there, because most everything's digital now over the internets, the interwebs, as they call them. So they're not worried about losing a lot of sales. The only thing they're losing is really the money they paid down in the booth, and so they're not going to be there. And there's going to be less people, like I said. So I think that actually does have a potential, though, to not be all bad. If you're already going, you already got your plane flight, you've already got your hotel, go. I say go and enjoy it. Have a good time. Interact with the people that are there. And here's the thing that I was getting ready to say. They've got a bigger space now than ever, and they've only got like 100 and so fewer exhibits now. Of course, they're going to be some of the biggest exhibits that aren't going to be there. Some of them that took up what would be 20 or 30 booths. So it's going to be a little more spread out. It's going to be a little more sparse. But here's what I've always liked best about SHOT Show. It hasn't been going to the Beretta booth or the Sig Sauer booth or the Smith & Wesson booth. I like that. I do that a couple of times. I love to see their products. But what interests me more is the smaller manufacturers that are coming out with new things and new ideas, and smaller gun companies, that are startups and are trying to get into business. Like I remember last time I went 2020, I saw the company that makes the 2011s now. I'm blanking on their name right now. Bull Armory. That's the first place I ever saw them. So I like seeing the smaller companies, and they weren't with the big companies upstairs. They were down in the lower levels with the smaller booth, the single lot booths. And I think those are more interesting, like the Bond Arms, the Bull Armories, the things like that are in the smaller booths. The guy who made a new optic, the guy who designed a new pistol brace, things like that. So I think with fewer people there, less of the big manufacturers taking up all the spotlight, I think you're going to see a lot more attention paid to some of the smaller manufacturers. The ones that, will take their time to talk to you and want you to spread the word. The ones that are going to be there are the ones, like I say, can't afford to eat the cost of the booth and don't have these giant, advertising campaigns where they don't blitz you with new information on new guns all the time. The smaller manufacturers rely on the trade show to get the word out. They rely on social media now. Social media is a big part of SHOT Show now. So I think it's going to be an even bigger part this year. And I think it's going to be a big thing for smaller companies. The smaller companies are always, in my opinion, far more interesting, far more fun. Out of the 3 days I usually spend there, I usually spend like half a day at the big companies. And then the other, 2.5, 3 days is looking at all the smaller stuff. You look at it forever. There's so much stuff you can walk down the same aisle 50 times and see something new every time. And it's not the big manufacturers that are bringing that stuff. It's the smaller ones. So that's why I really like SHOT Show. And it gives you a chance to talk to the other people. Like when you're in the booths, you get to talk to other people that are visiting, people that are there to see the products, other social media people. So it's a lot of fun. And I don't think taking the big manufacturers out of the mix is really going to make it to where it's not fun. I think it's just going to make it a little different. So I don't think it's falling apart just because the big manufacturers are not going to be showing up, some of them. I think it's actually allowing the spotlight to shine elsewhere and allowing people to realize some of the smaller stuff at SHOT Show is what is more fun. And in my opinion, it's what's more important in some ways too, because it's innovation, it's new things, it's new people. So it's very important. So like I said, I don't think SHOT Show's falling apart. I think it's just evolving a little bit this year. I think it'll be a little different this year. So if you've got your plane tickets, you got your hotel, don't worry. I think you're going to have a blast. I say go, and let us all know if you see anything cool. All right, before I get out of here today, I want to thank everybody that has participated so far in the fundraiser for Coda, the German Shepherd puppy. I wanted to give you all a little update here. Coda had his surgery already, but he had a little setback. He had to go back into the hospital because he came down with pneumonia after surgery. But he's a young, strong little puppy, and they said he's going to be fine. He just needed a little extra care. But I wanted to thank everyone that went over to tympistolproject.com and donated so far, because we've raised pretty much half of what they need so far. We've already donated, I think, $2,100. Something in that range. For some reason, it put me as the donation from the Yankee Marshall Posse the first time. Then the next time, it used my real name. But I'm making the donations daily. Like whatever we raise in a day, I'm donating over there. Because the way GoFundMe pays out, they pay out every day. Whatever has cleared in the account, they pay to the people. So I want them to get the money as fast as possible instead of waiting for them to have to get it all at once at the end. Plus, in case someone reports this to PayPal, I want to have removed the money every day and transferred it over to GoFundMe. Luckily, GoFundMe takes PayPal. So I wanted to thank everybody that's participated so far. If you haven't participated yet, please go over and donate to help cover the expenses for poor little Coda and his family who loves him very much. Like I said, he is a family member of one of our regulars on our chat, Karen Woodson. This is kind of a keeping it in the family kind of thing, which is sadly what I have to do on a lot of these things. If someone I have to know someone that's involved or someone that's very close to the situation, because there's so much fraud and things like this that you don't know who you're giving your money to. So I like it being inside the family. It's either got to be a reputable organization or I have to have insider knowledge of it. It's just not going to be something I see on Facebook. But glad that we can help out. Like I said, we're halfway there. So if you haven't donated yet, please go over and do so. Like I said, there's a link in the upper corner of this video. And for every $10 you donate, I am going to give you an entry to win the Gen 3 Glock G17 that will be given away on Sunday during the live chat. So you have till noon on Sunday to go over and donate. So go over, do that. Hopefully we'll make up the next half of what we need to cover little Coda's expenses. And you'll get yourself a chance at winning a Glock. You're doing a good deed, helping out a puppy in need. And then I'm doing what little I can by giving you an entry into a chance to win the Glock. So go on over, donate, and then show up Sunday night during the live chat and see if you won. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed the show today, and I hope you come back again on Monday. Until then, I just want to remind everyone out there to always carry and stay safe until I see you again.